I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to do a bit of fortune telling for us. What would be your three predictions for 2025?
I see that we are understanding, tackling, and advancing in personalization because it's a must, like it or not. Personalization is going to be there, which means that we need to look at people as people.
I'm here with Peggy Anne Salz from the Groove podcast and many, many other things that you're involved in. And she has very kindly agreed to be on our customer showcase interview. Peggy, thank you so much for agreeing. Welcome.
Great to be here. I mean, I had to come because I thought, oh, this is true feedback. I can't miss this opportunity.
Tell me a little bit about what you do. Tell me about everything that you do.
Okay. Well, I'm a content strategist in the industry, so creating content for the global mobile and app marketing industry, but also in addition to that, a senior contributor to Forbes, as well as a writer at Pocket Gamer, because everything comes together in games. It's such an exciting realm. Brand marketing coming together in games. Then finally, podcast host at In the Groove with Peggy Anne Salz, as well as the Pocket Gamer weekly podcast. There's a lot on my plate, but I'm enjoying it so much. And again, quite manageable, thanks to you, I have to say.
What is
Yeah.
the thing that really motivates you and drives you?
I see things in a complex way, and I'm driven by the urge and the desire to make complex things accessible because technology has to be accessible. It impacts each and every one of us, like the mobile phone, the mobile app. Look what it has done. Look at what it has changed, regardless of where you sit in the world. So you just have to be excited about reporting on that, but also digesting that for everyone.
How do you get your clients?
So I have clients, a roster of clients who appreciate that when you have something complex, you need to make it actionable. You need to make it doable. So I have clients, for example, I've been working with in Mobi advertising, for example, because they're looking at new opportunities on the lock screen to enhance and elevate app discovery. You know, how do you explain an entirely new realm of discovering and using apps? You need to do that in a way that requires thought leadership, that it's education. I would say, yeah, I've gone from information to education. That's what I do, and that's what I do with my clients because everything is so complex. How do you explain that? How do you explain programmatic advertising in the age of a privacy first approach? Really tough, really difficult. I enjoy the challenge, and thankfully, I can use my time and prioritize it to give this content the attention it deserves.
As well as You Can Book Me, what other tools have you always used or that you rely on?
Asana is essential. So everyone has their tasks. Don't go into micromanagement, but I have to have an overview, you know, where is what. So yes, Asana is an absolute must. Might laugh a bit, but my new toy is my old toy. I found it before, and now I have it again. Absolutely in love with Timeular. So
Okay,
Timeular,
tell me about that. Yeah.
I love Timeular. In fact, I'll show you Timeular.
Yeah, go.
It's like a toy for me, right? It is a pet. So Timeular is hooked up with an eight-sided thing that I've put stickers on. Like this, for example, is accounts because it looks like graphics. This will be doing email, but this is hooked up via Bluetooth to the software so that not only do I know what I'm doing with my time, because when you do something, when you have to engage with it, it stays with you. So when I turn this to, you know, for here, for example, is working with the team because it's a little bit of a machine, a little cog. They give you the stickers. I mean, you can do all sorts of cool things. People have painted them. But the whole idea is that when I'm doing something, I turn it to that side. It connects to the software. It times me. And when I'm done with something and I want to do something else, I flip it.
What drives growth in your business, Peggy?
Well, I do get referrals, and for some reason, I simply adapt. I'm not like fully booked in the sense because my deep understanding of what I'm doing and the fact that like writing is in my DNA. I've been writing since I was 16 years old. It just is what I do. I write books about topics I've never really thought of. I worked with SAP on a book about mobile commerce in the early days when I didn't truly understand what it was or what it was going to be. You know, mobile financial services. How did we know it was going to be personal finance at some point? This was before apps when I did this. So how do I evolve and take care of the workload? I think I simply adapt, but I always see something interesting in everything I'm doing. And the work I have it evolves. I've had clients for 8 years. We just keep on moving through. We do this book and that white paper, and then there's this podcast series, and then they're moving into another area, and everyone now is moving into something related to machine learning or AI. And you need to tell people how that makes you special, unique, how that enhances your services. So it is very B2B what I'm doing, but I think of it as B2B to C, bringing it to the audience. And
Right.
that can be their potential prospects.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to do a bit of fortune telling for us. What would be your three predictions for 2025?
Finally, after writing about it for decades, plural, I see that we are understanding, tackling, and advancing in personalization because it's a must, like it or not. Personalization is going to be there, which means that we need to look at people as people. The other thing I'm very excited about is the coming together of brand and everything. So not just in games, but in entertainment, in CTV. There's going to be different channels, diversification, different audiences, and you're going to think more broadly about how you're reaching them and where you are to reach them. So diversification, personalization, on different screens. I talked about the lock screen before. Different screens, different ways. And finally, a focus on making new metrics to understand. We've been focused on things like ROAS, which is extremely important. I'm not saying it's not. But I was talking with other marketers. That's why I love my job. And they're telling me, we're creating new metrics, we're blending new metrics. Looking at how do we focus on long-term metrics such as LTV and shorter-term metrics such as ROAS and blend them and come together.
Would you rather throw out your phone or your laptop?
I would say my laptop, but I'll tell you why. I've got a new thing, right? It's ordered. It's coming to me. I'll let you know if I love it as much as I've loved it looking at it, because it is a departure, but I do a lot of work on the road. And I get very, very frustrated when it's like, I must type something precisely or in depth. You can't just say, I'll be with you
Yeah,
soon. I can't get
yeah.
away with that. I've got a client email or something, right? Found something called clicks. We'll
Hmm.
see if it works. It extends the phone. So you take your
Ah,
phone,
okay.
you stick
Hmm.
it in, right? And it's going to
Yeah.
have a little extension to it that is an actual keypad.
Hmm.
We shall see if it brings together the best of iPhone and BlackBerry. And if it does, I am going to be over the moon.
Would you rather get a new client or double your sales to an existing client?
Oh, existing, because I love it. I'm in tech, and so the deeper I can go, the more exciting it gets. And I can be very proactive in the ideas I suggest. I can understand the founder story. I can immerse myself in the content. And every time I immerse myself, I find new ideas. And you can only do that if you're deep, deep into it. So yeah, I'm a deep person.
Would you rather speak at a huge conference or make a new sale?
I think a huge conference, simply because it's also the experience itself of bringing everything up a notch and connecting with new people. Because in that audience, there's going to be new people. New people are like, there's gems just waiting to be polished. So yeah, I would say give me the conference.
Would you rather work with a team of experts or passionate learners?
Passionate learners, because I have people in my team been with me for a decade, yeah, over a decade. And when it started, it was just like, could you do this? And then it's like, oh, you do that really well. And then this evolves and that evolves. And then, and we evolve together. And it's just the magic of learning together, expanding together, and even learning from them as well.
Mhm.
So it's like, she wasn't what I refer to her now, Debbie Harper, my social media diva is what I call her. She's like, oh, the thumbnails on YouTube, they have to look this way and that way. I mean, this was something that wasn't in her skill set before and wasn't in my interest area either, because it was just like throw it up on YouTube. No, there's a science to this. And she's becoming that type of scientist.
Would you rather be known for product quality or customer service?
That's a tough one, because if you have quality, it speaks for itself and it serves your customers because the product is what matters. That's a really tough one because they're so intertwined, Bridget. If the product isn't any good, then the service isn't either. But service is personal, and we do need to feel as if we're being treated as individuals, and we can go to market with MVP, so no need to be perfectionists there. I'll switch back. I'll say service because even if it's MVP, if you're with people, and this has been proven in research as well, you can screw up. But if you say, look, it's MVP, have patience with us. We'll be with you shortly. We'll have it the way you want it soon. People will be forgiving and stay with you and wait through that grueling process of you sort of trial and error, A/B testing. So, yeah, I'll take service and be open about it. Be open about your mistakes, and people will stick with you.
Peggy Anne Salz, thank you so much for being part of our customer showcase. It's been a real pleasure to learn about your business, and I've learned an awful lot about your wisdom about the industry that we're both in. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Bridget. Love the opportunity and keep talking to people because you're unearthing gems of your own.